Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome to this episode of Streaming Frontiers. My name is Viktor Gamov, and I welcome you to this journey with me where no data streaming engineer has gone before. Now, before we start, before we start doing things, there's some important things that needs to be done. Please, if you're watching us live, write down some of the comments in wherever you're watching. So we going live in YouTube, we're going live in LinkedIn, and also I'm testing new microphone. Please let me know if you hear me well, if you can see me well, and this is also helped me to figure out that I'm not crazy and I'm just talking to myself while while we'll be streaming this to the camera. Streaming Frontiers, it's a live show where I'm exploring all interesting streaming technology around data streaming. Majority of the things will be somehow focused around the Confluent Cloud because Confluent Cloud has a pretty good data streaming platform that you can use for your solving some of the interesting problems that you are solving. Now, I usually this show is for me to do some research on some interesting tools, and intentionally don't do any much or like any big research before the show, except some of the some of the things that might not be that obvious. For example, like preparing some keys to connect into cloud and things like that. So yeah, that's the premise of the show. Before we start, write down in the comments where are you coming from, and let me also check some other resources where folks can write me in the comments. The current technology is supposed to allow me to get the comments from everywhere. So if you coming from if you come in to the show from like YouTube, I should be able to see YouTube comments. Okay, so I see Mini from my team, and yes, so we test the comments from LinkedIn, and how is my sound? Trying to do a setup where I will not be dependent on the microphone, so microphone would be somewhere here. Now, while I'm waiting for comments, desperately waiting for comments, I would like to quickly remind you that I'm showing you wrong screen for some reasons, and the need to fix that in the background as well. So for some reasons, I don't know, like if you ever used any the dock stations, specifically dock station that okay, so we do have Mikhaila from Boston. Great. Sometimes my the screen sharing a wrong screen because I'm using the dock that has different capabilities. Let's see if it's going to be right screen. Yeah, now we're sharing correct screen, the screen that I wanted to share. So, wow, Saud, welcome. Some people around the world watching this stream, and I appreciate that you join us from Saudi Arabia. That's great to have. Okay. Panos, welcome. Welcome from Greece. I'm actually, as a matter of fact, I will be soon in Greece for Vox Days Thessaloniki. I hope I pronounced this correctly. And also, we're gonna planning to do some meetup in Athens. So if you will be around, I hope I will see you in person at either at Thessaloniki or Athens. So welcome to the show. Hello from London, UK. Hey, LinkedIn user. Okay, now the important quick announcement. I clicked too fast. Current New Orleans. So Many of you know about current Bangalore. Some of you heard about current London. Now it's time for great United States of America to take a lead. So now current coming into US. This year we're doing this in beautiful New Orleans. Timing also interesting because it's around Halloween. So if you're planning to have fun in during the Halloween, you also have so we will be located in New Orleans, and we're gonna have a lot of fun at Current. Maybe I'm speaking there, so maybe I should appear in my full Captain Pike attire. Some of you would try to guess if it's Captain Kirk. No, it is Captain Pike. That's my new favorite show is Strange New Worlds with the Captain Pike team, so I love this. Now, if for some reasons you're interested and you didn't have a ticket, I have a offer that you couldn't refuse. DM me in LinkedIn or whatever you can find me. It can be Twitter, it can be Instagram, it can be even be Slack, our community Slack, where I will give you very special discount. I have a very cool discount. If you're interested, let me know. All right, time to go next. All right, so we have a few people from India. Great. We do have a few people from Pakistan. Great. Awesome. This is great. All right, so hope I'll see many of you there. It's the event if you're in the data streaming world, and you don't want to miss it. It's 100%. 100% the best. Now, the some of the updates. I build a workshop. I build a new workshop. It's the Confluent Cloud the workshop. If you never had a chance or never had the time to sit down and learn all new cool bits from this super technology, now you have a chance. It will take you maybe 1 hour to complete all exercises. It's in my GitHub. Link will be posted in description below in this video. If you need, as always, if you need any coupon codes or sign up discounts for Confluent Cloud, let me know. Again, DM me and I'll send you a pretty cool link. Now, so in this show, again, now we're coming back to the show. I try to spend less time on warming up and getting getting the time to work on introductions and other stuff, but let me bring you up to speed. So for the last couple episodes, height object list. Now, for the last few episodes, we touched about interesting technologies. Now, we talk about Kafka Connect. You can go and watch the previous episodes, how to set up Kafka Connect to database that allows you to query this from wherever you like. I think I spent decent amount of time talking about Kafka streams, and we talk about about Kafka streams, and we talk about different use cases, and specifically analytical use case and the operational use case, and how Kafka can solve this. And as a next step, I briefly mentioned the piece of technology that we don't talk about anymore. It's called KSQLDB, and KSQLDB was the first step towards the subject of today's presentation. You can call it presentation, yes. So we are going into the world of streaming SQL. Now, what is streaming SQL? So first of all, you can find a very good book Very good book that I've written by one of my colleagues, Hubert Daly, and it is pretty cool book. It is a pretty good book. Let me try to see if I will be able to log into my account so I can talk to you about this this book in detail. So essentially, this book was about new category of software that exists in data streaming world, and this thing called streaming databases. And since, let's go streaming in the very beginning, preface. Yes, preface. Where's the entrance? And some of the streaming foundations. Some of the things that mentioned in this book is those things we can find a pattern, and specifically a couple things that inspiration that I gained from this book I learned here. So what is streaming a database? What is the streaming SQL streaming database? The way how I like how it's defined in the book, and it also aligns with mine the view of the world. That first of all, it's more database than stream processing system, even though we still will be processing system. It's the whole premise of streaming databases is that you have a built-in stream processor. Second thing is that query language. So in the previous episodes, we saw multiple use cases, at least like 2 or 3 different use cases where you can do things with code. With Java, with Scala, it's totally fine. Or even Python for that matter. Like, despite a popular opinion, I don't hate Python, I just don't use it. And I think it's overhyped, especially in environments where involved somehow any type of like a mathematical thing or ML and all these kind of things. Can I rant for a second? Can I rant for a second? Can I? Because every time when the people start talking about Python, but someone says like, yeah, because Python used in AI and ML, and you cannot do anything without Python there. I think it is. Fight me in the comments if you believe it's not true. Write me in the comments. But hot take. I think the Python is overrated because probably you will say it coming from the Java guy, but I believe that in production, people have a more success while running Java applications. Yes, Python is great for experiments, but everyone will run JVM in production because it's the best. Anyway, rant is over. You can write down in the comments saying that I was wrong. Now, why are we talking about Python and Java? Because the query language for database is important. And in order to people to use this database without thinking about the code, the language should be accessible. And also, maybe I was not around of these communities a lot, but I never heard from SQL person when they will be ranting and comparing, saying, oh, you know what, SQL 92 is better than blah, or my SQL dialect is better than Postgres. SQL is SQL, and in 80% of cases it solves 100% of the problems. And that's why adopting SQL for stream processing capabilities, and specifically for capabilities that involved dealing with the structured data, I think it is great. It's much better than Java. You don't need to write topology if you just need to change the SQL query a little bit. And support of SQL is very important for the streaming databases. Now, second point, I'll try to open. I don't want to loud noises to disturb, but I don't have a coffee with me today, but I do have some energy drink with a little bit of caffeine, 100 milligrams of caffeine. So, cheers. So, streaming source, meaning that your Kafka, your Pulsar, or any type of Kafka implementation, your Kinesis for that matter, is the first class citizen. So streaming source, it would be something that you don't need to have, say, connector. So some of the databases that we saw, DuckDB, SQLite, Postgres, and some other things, through Connect, Kafka Connect, they will get the access to streaming source. But for streaming databases, so that's why it's called streaming databases, they don't have to have this integration. So this integration should be native, and so they have a control over how the stream will arrive here. So how the stream would be streamed, for that matter. And third one is, and this is very important. This is very important because there's one particular technology that I will be talking later in. I will be talking later in the show. Is technology called? We're gonna show it in the next slide. This technology doesn't have like a good story about persistent storage, but this story is changing as we speak, because there's a lot of interesting thing happens in that. Anyway, so having the ability to persist result and query result without reprocessing this data, that would be a great feature. Now, remember, if you don't remember, that's a good opportunity for me to remind you and go watch this episode. When I was talking about DuckDB integration with Kafka through technology called Quack, that allows you to essentially have a Kafka as a streaming source, and after that use a very powerful analytical engine for embedded database inside DuckDB, to get this data. So we're missing one port. We have a SQL, and the streaming source is kind of sorta-ish the part of this game. We need to reprocess or reread the data from topic if we need to get updated results, because what we do is basically batch. We read the data through Kafka topic, write the query, and after that, when we stop it, this data will disappear. So having the persistent storage of, we're going to be calling this materialized view. Materialized view that will be maintain the current state of this processing data. It is very important, and ability for us to go back and query this, that would be very important. Now, we're going to start in a different order. Probably I'm going to start with Rising Wave today because I like this the most. And KSQLDB is kind of like Zed's dead babe. We're not going to be talking about. I talk about this just a little bit, so we're not going to be spending much of the time with KSQLDB. But there's some interesting design choices that were there, and I wish they would be somewhere else. Now we're going to talk about Rising Wave today. If we have a time, we're going to start talking about materialized, and there's I actually don't know, like Time Plus, it's kind of like a fork of ClickHouse. I don't know if I need to mention it here or I need to mention this is the next category when we're going to be talking about real-time analytic databases. Real-time analytic. Now, very curious listener and participant, folks. Let's make some noise in the comments, because I'm not sure like if YouTube is getting our fabulous stream here. So let me quickly check on my side. It says streaming frontiers live. Okay, it works. It works. And but I don't see any comments in YouTube. Just please make some noise there. Now, very curious listeners might ask, okay, but Viktor, what about Flink? And Flink is great. Flink is awesome. We're going to spend some time with Flink in the future episodes. So we do have, today's the 17th of September, 9th. So we'll have 3 more episodes this year. Yes, I see some comments. Peter from Finland. Thank you so much for being with us. And we have some Ani from India, from YouTube. YouTube works. Fantastic. I love the comments. Now, the speaking about Flick, we're gonna we will have 3 more episodes this year. And I will try to wrap up the show until the end of the year. So at the end, or maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should go a little bit more. But anyway, so yeah, I would love to talk about Flink, but I would like to talk about Flink in application to Confluent Cloud in Tableflow. I think that would be a great opportunity to kind of like merge things together. But if you are very impatient, if you are really wants to know opinion about from very the authoritative source, David Anderson would be a great source of this information. Go to, many of you should know this because you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube, we're doing Confluent Developer YouTube channel. And if you on YouTube channel, you will be fine the videos from David Anderson, some of the colleagues, Tim Sandon. But there will be, if you're going through those things, you should have something like boom, 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 watermarks demystified. Is Apache Flink database? So those things would be here somewhere, or maybe not different. But subscribe to this YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is great. Now, let's get back to things that we're going to be talking about. So Rising Wave. Rising Wave is a lot of things. It's a lot of things. It says platform. We're more interested in open source version that will have many interesting things. So it has integration with streaming source through the concept of source when we will be creating this these things in our implementation. It does processing, so ingestion built in, meaning that there's no need for you to have a connector separately. So ingestion also happens through native integration. It does processing. It uses SQL to do the processing, and also there is ability for storing the data. There's different implementation of this technology, how the data would be stored. We're going to be using like whatever as simple as possible. Probably it's going to be either in memory or file based. So those things, those things will be used. Now, as you remember in previous runs, I think I do have from the previous runs, we operating with some flight data that is auto-generated. Let's see if this error occurred. It disappeared. Yep. So we do have some data, flight data generated, and what we're looking right now is to build some sort of like analytic stuff. We built a use case for flight delays previously. So let's take a look. So first of all, Rising Wave for let me hide the scratches, and I will take a look into this this repository also in my GitHub. All the sources will be available afterwards. So I'm going to be using Docker, and I'm going to be using Postgres SQL file client to connect. Now, there's a twist. There's a very interesting twist. The things what I mentioned here with qualities of these stream processing engines, streaming database, I'm sorry, has a SQL for querying, streaming source is a first class, and persistent storage. Now, the interesting thing that when we will be talking about the specifics, the Postgres wire compatible protocol will be pop up more and more. So it's not only provides you with the native ways to connect with a streaming source, but also provides the familiar the SQL tools that you can use. So in this case, we're going to be using PostgreSQL client. We can do this with, let's see if I have any like SQL Studio Pro. We're going to try to do this as well with traditional SQL tools that are available in my at my disposal. Let me say find this thing called SQL Studio Pro. We're gonna try this as well. Now, also we're going to using Rising Waves as a Docker image. My connection to Confluent Cloud. Now, it does support this integration of Rising Wave support connection to any type of Kafka. We're going to be using Confluent Cloud because my data is already there, and you saw the previous episodes also there. Now, if you're using Confluent Cloud and you want to manage some of the keys, especially like I do this a lot because I'm doing a lot of demos, and I need to expire my API keys every time when I show this to internet because I don't want to someone hijack my configuration. So I need to expire and remove this. So I build this small. What's the word today? I vibe coded this, or what I prefer to say, I use AI to assist me, what's called AI assisted engineering. So these tools with, you need to log into your Confluent Cloud account through CLI. And after that, it will provide you with some interesting tools. So for example, if I go to the folder, and this, I'll say, Confluent. Let's see if my connection is working. Yes, it is connected. So there will be some interesting tools available for you if you're building something with Confluent Cloud. So in this case, it allows me to say automatically set up my environment if I need to create the configuration. Also, I can validate if my configuration is correct. So if I'll just do something like validate scheme registry. So in this case, it can generate keys, and it will be able to communicate with schema registry, say with different ways how the data would be communicated. So the small tools to work with Confluent Cloud, validates connections, it validates Kafka, and most importantly for me, it gives me keys. So my keys in environment variable. So all my Kafka information would be here, so I can use it in other projects. So I highly recommend to check this out. Once again, CC Tools. Again, not announced yet because it's not fully released, but I'm accepting pull request, and if you want to test it out. As you can see, it's vibe coded together with Windsurf. Now my cluster data is connected, so I think we're ready to roll. Now the Confluent Cloud installed, I have keys. My keys are in, I can do make status. Rising Wave is not running, front end is not accessible. So we're gonna do this make start. Run the container, check the environment variable. So now Rising Wave is ready. Let's see. Make status. So Rising Wave front end is accessible. So let's take a look. What does it mean? If I'm gonna do like make file. So the this is the, I assume this is going to be UI, because the port, the Postgres port would be a different one. Let's see if we actually exposing this one. Yeah, it's 56. It's not browser. Sorry, it's not browser. Now, let's do this. Connect to my connections. Let's do new connections. Postgres, Redshift, server host, local host. Port is gonna be 4566. 566. Login. I think we're gonna be using root or something like that. Database dev, as far as I remember. We're gonna do this blue, and we call it Reason Wave Local. Yeah. Save. And Rising Wave Local. Now, I connected to Rising Wave instance through just a standard tool that is Postgres tool, which is pretty cool, I think, which is pretty dope. Now, next thing is that I do have some ready-to-use statements to connect. So now we need to connect to this flight stream, and the way how it's done in this particular case, in the Rising Wave case, we're doing this by creating source, and we're providing the very similar syntax. Like Flink, as a matter of fact, uses a very similar syntax. Now, I also will want to use schema from Avro. So I'm gonna go here and say make run SQL client. It will open me with show have a dev database, show tables, show sources. Nothing. So, but it still it works through the standard command and standard SQL. So now let's create this. Oh, by the way, very important note. When I say, not many people know this, but I need to like point out this very intentionally. When it says Postgres wire compatible protocol, it means that your client that knows how to connect to Postgres, your JDBC driver, your PSQL file, PSQL command, and some other like desktop tools, they know how to talk to this protocol. But it doesn't mean you can take your SQL as is from Postgres and run this in Rising Wave. You still need to rely on syntax and check the syntax of Rising Wave in order to connect to this. Let's create source. So source will connect to my flights streams in Confluent Cloud using connection to schema registry, and hopefully it will work. I really hope it will. Created source, and let's see what do we see here. If I'm gonna go, can I do refresh? Refresh. Now inside dev, I should have. Interesting. Why I don't see tables? What if I would do show sources? Flight stream. So we do have all these things deployed here. Okay, so now let's try to query this stream and get anything out of here. So we're reading from the flight stream, and this information should appear on our screen with the format that will be, getting data. So we have our data inside this Rising Wave instance. Things will be constantly updated here, and it is pretty good. It is pretty good. Now we can materialize this data into this materialized view. So we're gonna go and create this. Now we create this materialized view for delayed flights. I'm curious why I don't see those things here. So let me do a refresh. It should be in the public schema. It should be materialized use, and delayed flights materialized use. So let's see if we can have data. Select 1,000 rows, and the data is here. So that's pretty dope. So in this case, data should let's do not the limit. Let's see if the number is actually changing, because my data generator is still count. This number would be changing. So number count is, let's see if I can do font bigger. If I can do default light, and if I can do, how I can do this? Let's do 36, 48, 36 is fine. And we also wanted to do this for UI. Can we do this for UI? Yeah, because Helvetica 13 not gonna cut. We're gonna do source code. So sense, and we're going to have this, yep, something like this. Yep, that would be apply and close. Okay, so now we have a good number. Now, if I would run this one more time, this number should change. And number is changing. Indeed, the number is changing, meaning that data is constantly arriving here, and this materialized view is constantly maintained, which is pretty cool. So we do have SQL to connect. We do have a persistent storage, so our materialized view is stored here. So let's continue adding some experiments here. Next, materialized view, we're gonna do airline performance. We're gonna see some of the stateful processing, because this is gonna be interesting. Now, invalid column, actual departure. So here's the thing that I realized, and I learned this a little bit late. So apparently, even though it uses positive syntax, and positive syntax doesn't distinguish between low case, so this one and the D here and D here is incorrect. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna try to wrap this in double quotes. So in this case, the sensitivity, case sensitivity, will be preserved by default. So yeah, that's the kind of like a conversation what I want to have about different SQL dialects instead of like Java versus Scala. I really want people start fighting and saying like different dialects, because now, so delayed count, it should be working. And what's the question was, second problem was file to bind expression when file, maybe because the queries were not. Let's see if we can run the SQL first, if there's some data. Now let's see, we get this SQL, and this SQL is finite, because we do have why it is finite, I don't know. Why it only displayed only 10 rows. And I don't see. I would also print out. Okay, so just okay. So the reason why it's result is finite. So we have a state that will represent. I have only 10 airlines here, so that's why it's always would be 10. And we run this. Actually, can I do select, say, not the public flights, flights. It is gonna be. It's not appeared. It's not appeared as a table. Flight. What is this? flights stream, flights underscore. So it does count number of flights, and we also can I do describe? Okay, show create. Can I do this? Create to the source. Okay, so it actually, the works fine. Not all tools support the source as a input here. Let's see if I have one more table. What table plus? Let's see if the table plus can show me anything. Delayed flights. Let's see. Flight stream, and it works also. And it works as worse. The flight stream works. Okay, now the next step is let's materialize this this result. So in this case, we will have a constantly updated materialized view. Materialized airline performance. Okay, great. So let's see if here how I can refresh or like update connection, reload. Why not showing me tables? Like it should show me. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, what? Refresh button. Now we do have airline performance, which is our materialized view. That can be, so we can query this table. Now, and also because we do have access, because we have access to source table, so we not only we can execute the analytical queries with all the counts, but also we can do the operational queries. So in this case, we can also query by ID or based on certain key. Say, where's my? I can do select from. We can do this from public stream. We can do select count, and we're gonna do airline, and we're gonna do select distinct. It should give me answer 10. Why? Distinct airline. Can we do this? Yeah, that's 10. That's what I expect more to get as a result. So now, and I can do select star from and where airline equals United. So not only the materialized view, but also we can do search by key and things like that. But as this particular and this particular use case, it still will require to go and read the data from topic, and after that filter this on the client side of things. So materialized view would preserve the changes. Now let's see another one, hourly flight summary, and this is what we're gonna doing some sliding window. Let me make sure that our scheduled departure would be correct, and the rest of the stuff looks fine. Let's see if this will run for us. Okay, so second argument of window table function should be column, but not complex expression. Consider using intermediate or view as a workaround. We're gonna research this afterwards. What does it mean? And we can try some. We're gonna try some other queries that won't require the window start and window end. Because I am okay. So what is that? Because interesting thing. So I forgot to enter a semicolon, and it was not able to terminate query. It will not be able to execute. So now this works. So we can create airport congestion materialized view. And the order by cause in statement doesn't guarantee that rows selected out of this materials view return in this order. So, and this is where this is very important because SQL has certain expectation in general, because SQL it is running on top of the data that exists. But here we're saying that it's just a notice, it's warning, because the way how Kafka consumers work, there's no guarantee order of the way how this data was confused in the word consumed, and how this data was processed afterwards. So that's why they have this interesting notice. Now let's see. We do have views or refresh. Now we do have a airport congestion, and we know that's a percentage of. This number will be closer to, it's just a random generator. So this number of percentage would probably only grow. It's not gonna go down. In the real life, it probably will go down. Now, what else we do have? Now, this is very interesting. We got these results in Rising Wave right now. It's stored inside the Rising Wave. But now we want to ship it back to Kafka, and this is where we're going to do that. Oh, I actually have some monitoring queries for this. Okay, I will do this. I just want to make sure that flight number should be in, and rest of the stuff should be fine. Good. Okay, good. Now what I need to do is to run this source command again. And the results would be stored in my OneSQL. Now, let's create sync from select. Okay, we're getting this into... Oh. Let's see. Flight alert sync from select. Flight number, destination, critical delay is the alert type, and alert time step is 9. Where delay more than 1 hour. Delays over 1 hour. So snap. What? Parse errors. Undefined found line 2. Select from create sync from, I guess that's the thing would be. I really don't want to go to AI route, but sometimes it would be just faster. Parsers, we found flight number. So like, I'm curious why this should work. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go AI route. Let's go AI route. Nothing special. We're gonna do what? What we did the last time? We did last time. Windsurf actually has a chat that allows me to use MCP. So in this case, let's go with the AI route. What was the initial problem? Okay, so let's see how this will fix this. Now we're gonna do with chat mode. The bigger flight alert sync, flight sync, query, error. Let's see how this will fix this. So it will needs to find the correct example. In this case, probably we'll use this. Now let's see. Let's see how it will go to find the rising wave as select. Obviously, create sync as select, not the from. Okay, so it's easy. As was easy enough. And we do have this copy. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so looks like we can, come on. Let's apply changes and see how this would look like. As select, so we don't need to use those things. So that's why I was, when I was learning math, extra parentheses never hurt, but apparently it's not the case for the SQL. Why? Let's see. Oh yeah, because this. So you can use the double quotes inside. Okay, now it should work. Failed to bind the expression now. Okay, so we're gonna do this. Okay, now interesting. So let's see this particular error. We do have problems. Let's copy this now. I just throw in the error and see. I don't know SQL. I'm not I'm not the SQL person, but let's see how this will figure out. So now it's we'll propose some of the interesting solution to solve it. And again, in this particular case, it doesn't change my code because I'm working in the chat mode. So I'm just asking, like, hey, go fix that. Let's see, proposing edit. Okay, so we wait until result would be fully implemented. Swimming. I was wondering if it's my intranet or models are backed up a little bit. Okay, so what's the fix? What's the fix? Fix would be instead of now, using 2 step. Let's see if this will do the thing. So we'll have, instead of now, So as you can see, the SQL not everywhere same SQL. All right. Failure to validate sync must be set. Client creation. Okay, so yeah, again, same issue that was here. I had this in the past. It's just a configuration issue. But how it works with Kafka, because username and password is not so. Oh, I gotcha. So needs to get SASL protocol, Bootstrap server, security protocol. There's no such thing as a Jazz config in this particular case. And my Kafka would be username. Kafka, it's a key, and it's the value. Boom, 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 username, boom. Okay, now this should do the thing. Come on, man, you can do better. You can do better, Victor. You can, of course you can. Okay. Sync created. Now let's see if it's actually doing anything. So if I refresh it, it should give us flight alerts, but we don't see flight alerts. And I'm wondering. No, there's no such topic. Should I create this topic? I actually don't know. Now, let's see. Okay, we have a sync, and let's see how does to monitor sync. I think I already asked this question in the past. So, select from syncs. Yes, we can do this. Let's see. How to monitor sync is working in Rising Wave. Okay, so we're gonna accept file, accept the changes. The timestamp works. We're gonna fix that. So let's see if this will suggest us how I can execute the fix in Rising Wave. So questions. What about Debezium? Panos, very good question, and help me to understand what are you asking. So is Debezium great tool for quitting the stream? Well, technically Debezium runs on top of Kafka Connect, so everything what I said about Kafka Connect in the previous episode still stands. So yeah, so in this case Debezium was awesome, but I don't think I need to do like separate session on Debezium because I already did the Kafka Connect. So show create sync and show jobs. Let's see, show jobs. There's nothing is running. I'm curious because will it create sync? Will the sync create a flight? Will the sync create a topic? Let's try. I definitely don't have it now, and I said a flight. Maybe I need to create a topic first. Flight alerts. partition count 9 and replication factor 3. Flight alerts. Now let's see if this helped. Let's see if this query actually returns anything. So we do have some data here. There's nothing here. Why? Delay minutes. Delay minutes. We don't have delay minutes. Delay minutes. From delayed flight. Okay. Delay minutes. Say, let's do this. Let's see. Okay, that works. Okay, so in this case the data is incorrect, so I can just drop and okay, that's what I like. Boom. Okay. Now let's create the sync one more time. And oh. And in this case, flight delay, I should have, can I do this? No. Let me fix this here quickly. So we're gonna do 60. Opa, now we have a data, flight alerts arriving here. That's perfect. Now it works. So the cool thing about this, it combines stream processing, combines storage, combines SQL, and you still can ship this data to Confluent Cloud. And interesting things. I want to show you one last thing. If it would be possible for me to do, if I go to cluster, my clusters, my topics, and flight alerts. The new feature, it's awesome. I love this. A new feature that is available in Confluent Cloud allows to infer schema. So we have a pretty well-defined structure, but it was not configured. So I can infer schema. So other components of Confluent Cloud will be able to use this object. You still even can, even though it's a JSON, you still can use Evro-data, Evro schema, because other components of the platform like Flink and TableFlow will be able to use the schema in order to read the data and make sense out of it. So we can talk about this next time. But for today, was very brief. We talk about the rising wave only because we're running out of time today. I'm gonna return to materialize next time, so we're gonna see how it's done. It is pretty cool. So if I would not know Java, if I would not know Flink before, I probably would enjoy using the rising wave a lot because written in Rust. I guess getting some good internet points. Works with Kafka, Pulsar, Kinesis. You saw the integration. We were able to connect to Confluent Cloud. Inside the Confluent Cloud, let's see if let me quickly take a look. We have flights and we have a monitor, a consumption, and if I'm gonna go and see a consumer lag, it's not showing for yet. Let's see what kind of metrics we do have. How can I see? I'm gonna go in not a data contract. I want to go back to my cluster. Here's more ways to get data running through cluster. Yeah, I'm not doing this. We're talking about flights, monitor, how I can see what are the consumers. I can see the clients, consumers, and this is the consumer that I'm getting data from, based on the API key to figure out what it was. But and the data, are we consumer, and Rising Wave still uses consumer for dealing with Kafka, and classic protocol is classic. Yes. Anyway, so today we touched the Rising Wave, SQL compliant, PostgreSQL enabled, materialized views supported, and you will be able to query those materialized views. So as I showed you previously, those materialized views were, let me click it here, boom, refresh, airline performance. This materialized view was, we took it, the getting the query right outside of the Rising Wave without reprocessing. So it is pretty cool. As always, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I don't have this YouTube channel somewhere. I hope I'll see many of you in New Orleans. We still have a few episodes. I will still will come to you in October. Today was September. My name is Viktor Gamov, and as always, have a nice day, and I will see you in streams next time.